What is up, YouTube? My name is Evan Magician, and today we're going to be looking at a very forgotten card indeed from Pokemon X and Y base set. It is Greninja. He's a Stage 2 with 130 HP, weakness to water, 1 energy retreat, and the main theme we're going to be focusing on is his ability, Water Shuriken, which once per turn allows you to discard a water energy from your hand to put 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. He also has an attack for 1 water energy that deals 50 damage and pretty much ignores any effects on your opponent altogether, like weakness, resistance, any abilities or items, etc. Which is nice. It's a nice cheap attack that can put some damage on, especially when you combine it with a Water Shuriken. But the whole point of our deck, we're going to be playing a somewhat control-y version of this, where we build up and try to get a couple of Greninja going as quickly as we can on our bench, using our Water Shuriken over and over, to start hitting just any old Pokemon on our opponent's side, and ultimately strike with impunity with a big attack from our EX to start one-shotting things when you combine its attack with our Water Shuriken. So, to try to get this out as quickly as possible, we're running 4 copies of Greninja. We're running 1 copy of Froakie, just in case our rare candies don't quite work for us. We do have 1 of him. He's a little more searchable in some other ways, like with Dive Ball. We have 4 copies of Froakie. You can use the 60 HP one from the X and Y little starter decks, but I'm going to run this one just because he's got bounce, which means that if you end up starting with him, you can theoretically use his attack to get him back on your bench where he's a little bit safer. Our partner in crime here is going to be Seismitoad EX. He just makes so much sense. You can Quaking Punch to lock your opponent out and slow them down whilst you get your Greninja set up in a couple of turns, and with Grenade Hammer, I mean, combining that with 2 Water Shurikens is easily going to be enough for a knockout on anybody. And with Muscle Band, this guy's dealing 150, so that a single Water Shuriken is enough to deal 180 damage in a turn to take out any EX that's not named Wailord or like somebody unusual like a Mega. But other than that, that's pretty potent. And with 3 Greninjas and a Muscle Band, you could even be one-shotting Megas. So, pretty powerful stuff. We're looking for a control-y early game with a very powerful finish. Our supporter lineup is pretty straightforward. We're running 4 Junipers, 3 Ns. This is just our draw power. Once we start taking knockouts, obviously, and not so crucial. We're just trying to get our setup here, but we have a lot of room we need to dedicate to our items and whatnot. We have 1 colorless because we would like to fill our bench, and our opponents may be doing that defensively against us. We're running 2 Skyla to make sure we get our rare candies and to hit superior energy retrieval if we need to. We've got 1 Lysander. In this deck, we don't necessarily even need to Lysander up something for knockout with our attack so much as we may want to just Lysander somebody up who can't do much back to us whilst we beat them down with Greninjas with their Water Shuriken attacks. And we also do have 1 Lysander's trump card. This can be a good way to reset in case the game goes long, put our energies and our superior energy retrievals and whatnot back into our deck. And there are a few matchups where you can use it to thwart your opponents too, of course. But it's mostly for us. We're running 3 rare candies, so we got 3 rare candies and 1 Froakie to help us get to our Greninjas. We've opted for 3 Dive Ball because everything in our deck is water type and we want to very quickly get them and keep everything going very fluidly, so 3 Dive Ball. 2 Professor's Letter for getting water energy quickly into access and making sure that Greninja's always got things to throw at your opponent in the early to mid game. And for the rest of the mid and late game situations, we have 3 superior energy retrievals. Once we get more than 1 Greninja going, obviously we can burn through our water energies pretty quickly. So these are very crucial for getting them back and reshooting them at your opponent. We're also running Computer Search. We do have to get certain cards at certain times, so the ability to go get them is pretty crucial, so that's definitely our A-spec. We've opted for 3 Muscle Bands because we are going to go through our deck fairly quickly with a lot of searching and whatnot, hopefully. So 3 Muscle Bands are sufficient because Greninja is not planning to attack. It's pretty much just your Seismitoad EX, and you're just going to sit behind him like you do in most decks that run him. So 3 is quite enough. We have 2 Versus Seeker. These are pretty utilitarian. Obviously, you can also use these to play tricks with the trump card. You know, get your trump card back and then fire it, or get say a Juniper back and then play your trump card so that you have a Juniper for the next turn, that sort of thing. So 2 is good because we're not super heavily reliant on our supporters here. We also run 1 Escape Rope because we're pretty much going to switch 1 Seismitoad for another in most scenarios. We might switch out a Greninja or something like that, but not too crucial, but it might come in handy. In a lot of cases, it may be functioning a lot like Lysander in this deck. We've also opted for 3 copies of Mountain Ring. This protects us from our Grenade Hammer's fallout, which is nice, and it can protect us from a few attacks like Hammerhead and whatnot, but really what we're using this for mainly is to get rid of other stadiums. Especially Rough Seas, that's really kind of a very problematic stadium for us. The healing can really be problematic for Seismitoad's early game damage, so this can be a good way to just get rid of your opponent's stadiums. That's mainly what this is for, so we've got 3 of that just to make sure we've got that down. But like I say, it can be nice with Grenade Hammer if we have to go that route a little earlier in the game when that damage to our bench might matter a little more. So we do have that. It can also be good against Rayquaza EX as he's about to come out with Roaring Skies very soon when its street releases next week. So this can be a good way to overwrite their stadium as well if Ninetales isn't around. And Ninetales can, of course, be sniped by Greninja, so this is a very relevant card for us there too. Last but not least, our energy lineup, we're opting for 4 double colorless energies. These are just strictly for the Seismitoad EX, of course. And we are running 10 water energies, fairly standard sort of support right there. So that is Greninja and his Water Shuriken deck, and it's pretty cool. I definitely say you should give it a try. You won't be disappointed. Play it at your local. It is a great way to catch people off guard and have some fun. It's not that difficult to play necessarily. I think just about anybody can pick it up and do well. So until next time, like, comment, subscribe, check out my channel, and I will see you next time.